Hello fellas, let's talk about Andrew Tate again because he's in the news. I did make one video about him. If you don't want to watch it, basically what I say in it is Andrew Tate noticed that there are these young men who don't have any role models, mentors, things like that, no purpose in life, and he offered himself up as a kind of example. And then I talk about how what he is trying to do, he does it incompetently, and he is like the herd of big swine that were full of unclean spirits that went off the cliff. Compare him to them. But there's a message of hope in that for him because it's about shame. They were ashamed, those unclean spirits. And so can Andrew Tate. But anyway, that day is not today. He is still violent with women, beating them ignorantly. He doesn't understand what's going wrong. He like choked some girl. There's a bunch of these messages, comments that are revealed about their chat. I want to point out to the thing that really reveals where he's going wrong. You talk back too much, so I beat you. I will hit you today, but I love you. Why the name calling? Do you understand? I'm scared. Don't care. Do you understand? Yes. Why the hitting? Do you belong to me or not? I do. Okay, so neither of these people understand anything about belonging to each other. This is like laughable. Wow. They're trying to have something that's holy, and they are both just incredibly terrible at anything to do with the love between man and a woman. These two are. Let's read about that a little bit. Now, concerning the things about which you wrote to me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. But because of much immorality, let each man have his own wife, and let each woman have her own husband. Let the husband fulfill his obligation to his wife, and likewise also the wife to her husband. The wife does not have the rights to her own body, but the husband. Likewise also the husband does not have the rights to his own body, but the wife. So this is what Andrew Tate is looking for, this possession. And he had to beat and coerce and manipulate it out of this woman who doesn't even know what she's agreeing to. Do not deprive one another except by mutual consent for a time, so that you may devote yourself to prayer, then come together again, so that Satan doesn't tempt you because of your lack of self-control. But this I say as a concession, not as a command. And what all of this really means is you're supposed to master sins. You're supposed to become self-controlled, disciplined. You're not supposed to ever masturbate. In any sense. I'm not just talking about touching your flesh. That's like the obvious thing that you can quit. I haven't masturbated for like 2 months now or something. It's just something that you can put behind you with God. You try enough. But it's the spiritual masturbation that keeps you going. Like, for example, fetishes and things like that. But also, like, anything to do with you desiring to satisfy yourself. You have to master that. You have to become disciplined. Little by little it happens. And you'll get there. And that's what Paul is saying here. You need that self-control. So you do not become like an obstacle to your wife giving herself over to you and you giving yourself over to her. There is this exchange of bodies. Like you start to think about things like, oh, my body is hers. And this does something that empowers your relationship, your marriage. It increases it. It empowers intimacy. Intimacy, for example. Like your love. People are set up in such a way, people that are functioning as God intended, that they do things for each other, for others. That's how it's best. You know, joy is something to be shared. We do things through somebody else. We do things through God. We do things through a spirit. We do things through Christ. We do things through our partners, our wives, our husbands. The worst thing you can do is do things through yourself for yourself. I guess the second worst thing you can do is use somebody else to masturbate. And I think that's a lot of the time what like passes off as, you know, very passionate sex in the world, when you're just using somebody to get off really hard and good because you think they are the great tool for that job, right? To get yourself off. You can see how on the outside it would seem like this is really passionate, but it's actually just a guy trying to get off himself, which is basically what masturbation is. And it's not very satisfying at all. You have to stop that, you have to become disciplined, and then there is like this pedestal in front of you, next to you, for somebody to step into. And if they're on the same page with you, I'm a virgin. I don't know how to say it. I don't know what it is. I've never had a conversation with a woman that lasted more than 2 minutes my whole life. So on that seemingly sad note, I do want to give an example of what it would be like if my body belonged to somebody else and their body belonged to me. You know, this is the thing that Andrew Tate dreams of having and he cannot have because he just doesn't understand God. He has no knowledge of Adonai in him. I'm a little bit overweight, like 7 or 10 kilos actually, a little bit more than a little bit. And I cycle a lot. It literally slows down my average speed. When I go uphill, I get exhausted, I sweat more and things like that. It's unhealthy. But I've done the math. I'm not gonna lose weight because I prefer the junk food. Kebabs, hamburgers, fries, soda, pizza. Today I'm gonna go eat a Domino's pizza, bacon crispy with pepperoni, original crust. They're pretty good here in Spain actually. I'm gonna eat that, I'm gonna drink some soda. You know? If I had a wife, I would fix this scenario because I don't want to give her something that's floppy. That's like offensive to me to even think about like that. I'm not gonna give a garbage gift to my wife. Like she is not gonna give a garbage gift to me. That is her body. We are for each other. And this would lead to all kinds of good things like health, right? I would fast because of her. And it's written in scripture that you're supposed to keep it secret. So I would keep it secret and there would be something off in the relationship and she would notice it. I'd be playing mind games on her. And eventually she's gonna get it out of me that, yeah, I'm gonna starve myself because I love you so much. And she's gonna learn to cook me something. If she's a good girl who puts on her apron, she's gonna learn to cook me something that's tasty, that's healthy, that will not get me fat. And she's gonna love it because she's doing it for us, right? Her body, that's for me, and my body, that is for her also. You know how perfect this is? This is what I want. This is what I want for everybody in the world. That's why it needs to die. So the better thing can take its place.